suggested an open relationship for fun, but he vanished before I came back. Well, hello friends. I hope I can call you guys that, because honestly, I don't have anyone to call a friend anymore, or even to just talk to. I started therapy, but don't think that's working. I think I'll just go straight to the point and not bore you with my gibberish, because I just want to get this off my mind. But please, I am already down as it is, so could all negative comments be kept at bay? Thank you. I've read a lot of stories on Reddit, but this is the first time I'm sharing mine, and I hope I get the warm reception others get. Thing is, I think I'm losing my boyfriend, and I don't know what to do. I don't even know why he's slipping away like this. Everything was fine, until that one trip that changed everything. So I am Aoife, pronounced Ife, female, 26 years old. Just a little flashback. So 5 years back, I graduated college in Illinois and moved back to Minnesota to work in this firm as a journalist. And by that, yes, I mean I studied journalism. It was within this period that I met Damien. Damien was and still is everything any woman could wish for in a man. I mean, he was kind, handsome, soft-spoken, and patient. He was a great cook, too. He was also a nurse, both in profession and at heart. He just had this way of making people comfortable around him. And even when we met, he had this receptive vibe to him. I could go on and on with praises of him, but then I'd probably end up not telling you guys the main issue. We lived on the same street 5 blocks away from each other. He was always there standing on my porch on Sunday evenings, asking if we could go for a walk, offering to walk me to the grocery store. In fact, one day during my lunch break, I came out of my office only to find him at the reception with takeout and coffee. Eventually, Damien and I started dating. 3 months into our relationship, we moved in together. At first, I was very skeptical about it, but he assured me that living together was going to do us both more good than harm. And looking at it, I had nothing to lose, so I agreed, and I moved literally my whole apartment into his. But just a few weeks after we'd started living our best life together, work came in between. A couple of my colleagues and I were sent on a work trip to France, a long one at that. We were scheduled to stay 2 months, but I didn't know how to break the news to Damien. 2 months was such a long time to be away, especially considering the fact that we had just moved in together. But I finally told him, and he was really sad, as expected. For the rest of the week, Damien stayed home with me, and when the day finally came for my trip, Damien looked so sad. I knew he'd miss me, a lot, but I didn't want him to feel alone and caged by me, so I asked him for an open relationship. Wait, no, I didn't ask. I just told him that's what I wanted. I don't know why I did that. I know that wasn't what I wanted at first, but I felt like if we were not feeling kept by each other, then the distance would be more bearable. I'm not going to paint myself as a saint. I also wanted a bit of freedom for my trip. I mean, man, I was going to France, and for 3 months. That's 100 days. I was just thinking, how could I stay so long without getting involved with any man, just because I had mine who was miles away? I think I needed the space more than he did. I could see the sadness in Damien's eyes. At first he said no, but then I insisted and told him it was what I wanted. I told him I didn't want him feeling locked in by someone 1,000 miles away. He didn't argue further, just walked out of the room, and I didn't see him for the rest of the day. I didn't think it was a problem at first, but the next morning he didn't return either. And I had an early flight. I called, texted, no response. 30 minutes before takeoff, I still tried to reach him, but it went straight to voicemail. I left him one saying I had taken off and would contact him when I got to France. When we got to France, I tried calling him again, but no response. Each time, it either went to voicemail or didn't connect at all. At some point, I slept off trying. One weekend evening, a colleague of mine, Clara, invited me to this karaoke bar, but at first I wasn't really enjoying myself. I mean, they were singing in French, and mine is downright rusty. Plus, I hadn't spoken to Damien for days. And I know the plan was to have freedom, but I needed to know I had someone to return to when all was said and done. A few moments later, Clara walked back towards me with 2 guys. One couldn't speak any English at all, but the second guy, Jay, could, and he was kind of cute too. Clara left me with him and took the other with her. We got talking, though the conversation was quite slow because of his accent. During the conversation, my cup never ran dry, and before I knew it, I was drunk. He didn't drug me or anything, but the French version of Bloody Mary was quite bloody. Long story cut short, we made out, and if Clara hadn't come back earlier, it would have been a totally different story. After that night, Clara and I hung out more. We were together at the office and together at the bar, and she was like the only friend I had. She would have been the second, except that the first, who happened to be the love of my life, still not answering my calls or returning my messages. As y'all must have guessed, subsequently, I made out with more and more guys, and the thought of Damien slowly started to leave my head. 3 months passed by more quickly than I expected, and 2 nights before we took off, Clara took me to a club where we partied harder than before. By the time we came back to our hotels, it was already dawn. I slept through the day and woke up in the evening and began packing. I called Damien again to let him know I was returning the next day, but as usual, he didn't pick up, so again I dropped a text. At this point, I realized that throughout my stay in France, I tried to keep Damien posted about everything that was going on here, from how the carnival was a blast to how work was going. I even sent him the link to my coverage, but he wasn't replying. There was this gnawing feeling within me that kept telling me that I'd lost him, but I tried to ignore it. After the long flight, we landed in the evening, and we all went our separate ways. I went to the house, but on reaching there, I didn't find the keys under the vase where we usually kept them. Worst of all, Damien still wasn't replying to my messages or taking my calls, so I sat on the front porch, waiting for him. 2 hours had passed when a black car pulled up in front of the house. It looked nothing like Damien's car, but I just assumed maybe he changed his. But then a guy stepped out of it, and he wasn't Damien. He told me he lived there and didn't know who Damien was. It was almost midnight, and finding a cab wasn't very easy, so I spent the next hour looking for a place to crash. I finally found a manageable hotel room to stay in, and when I settled in, I began to rethink everything. Like, who was that guy in our house? And why was Damien ignoring me? And that's when it hit me, that after hiding for so long, Damien may have finally found my secret somehow. But it wasn't anything serious, just a one-time thing way before I went to France. AMD, that couldn't have been the reason he was acting this way, because there was no way he found out. I tried calling him again, but still no response. The next day I went to book a comfortable room and paid for at least 2 weeks. It got to 3 days, still no sign of Damien, nothing from him. So I decided to go to the hospital he worked at. When I got down from the cab, I saw him leaving the hospital. I felt this ray of hope and rushed to meet him. But when he saw me, he seemed so indifferent towards me. The usual smile wasn't there. In fact, he seemed very displeased to see me. I just went ahead to ask him why he hadn't been taking my calls. He said he was busy with work. I asked about the house, and he said he needed a place closer to the hospital, so he moved. And when I asked about my things, he said that he point-blank told me didn't know, that he may or may have not sent it to me while I was in France. I was confused, but before I could ask for clarification, he interrupted me and said he had things to catch up with. Then he left. I tried to stop him, but he just shoved me away and drove off in his car. I seriously didn't know what to do or say. I stood there confused. Like, what had just happened? I was so angry and sad at the same time, and kept asking myself, why would Damien treat me like that? What was my offense? I felt he should at least have had the decency to wait for my return before doing whatever he did with my stuff. That night I called all the courier companies I knew, all the moving agencies I knew, but none of them were given my things, or even had the contract to move my things, and Damien still wasn't picking up my calls. All of my paperworks, certificates, even the postcards my dad sent me anytime he was away, my important belongings and everything I got from my late mom, all the vases, books, and wares, all gone. The only things I had to my name were the things I went to France with. And trust me, that wasn't a lot. 2 weeks had passed since I'd returned from France, and surprised still no sign of my stuff. And no sign of Damien either. I didn't even know what direction I was at. He didn't call, no text, nothing. He just left me there. At least I was able to get a decent apartment, with some of the promotion money we were promised. I was even moved to my own office. But despite the achievements and the comfort, both in the office and at home, I still felt like something was missing in my life, or should I say someone was missing from my life. Well, apart from that someone, my stuff was still missing. I was also missing a lot of explanations, so yeah, it works both ways. I went to see Damien in the hospital again, and when I saw him, he didn't look any different from the last time. Only now, kept his beard and it was neatly trimmed, and he looked happy with whatever life he had. But when he saw me, his whole expression changed. But I really didn't get it. What had I done so wrong that he wouldn't even spare me a minute? When I walked up to him, he just walked past me as if I wasn't even there, and then I followed him asking if I could get just 5 minutes of his time. After so much pleading, he finally gave me an audience. I told him I was sorry for what I wasn't even sure of, and that I wanted him back. It looked like he wasn't even paying me any attention. He just kept looking at the notepad in his hand and his timer. When I was done talking, he walked away without saying a word. Despite the humiliation I kept facing any time I went to see Damien, I still went any time I was free or passing by 9 the hospital, but I still wasn't getting his attention. Not having Damien in my life made me realize how important it was to have people around you, someone you could just lean on, cry to, laugh with, share memories, and even pass time with. And Damien was all of that to me, so y'all can understand why it was so hard for me to let him go. But one day, I decided I would go to see Damien, except this time, I wasn't leaving till I got answers. Not only for his recent behavior towards me, but where the hell my stuff was. I walked in on him having lunch with his colleagues, and when he saw me, he wanted to walk away. But as I said, I wanted answers, so I blocked his path. I think his colleagues noticed the tension between us because they all excused the table. I asked him about my things again, and he repeated that he didn't know about them. But that if it was of any help to me, he left what was left of my stuff in front of the house that rainy day when he was moving away. Maybe it was the trash guys who took it, or the homeless lady in the neighborhood. I was short of words. That did he mean he left my stuff under the rain? And most importantly, why? He was about to leave, but I held him back and asked him. I needed to know what I had done to deserve all that. But he didn't say anything, not yet. Then I saw Matt from the side of my eye. Damien saw him too. Matt was the guy I slept with, but it was just once. It didn't even count. Damien didn't say anything, but the look in his eyes said it all. He knew. I don't know, but somehow he found out that about Matt and I. I loosened my grip on him at that moment, because I finally understood. But still, I think he overreacted a bit. I mean, it was just a one-time thing. Nothing serious. As he was about to leave again, he turned back and told me the open relationship thing was a blast for him, just as it was for me, while I was in France. I was confused. When I looked around the canteen, the people there had different looks on their faces. Most of them looked really disgusted. I felt like the ground beneath my feet should open up and swallow me, now add embarrassment to my list of problems. I left the hospital that day with my head hung low in shame and sadness. I got home and cried under the shower as per usual routine, and then downed a pint of ice cream trying to down my sadness. Usually this is the part in life where you call in a friend to sit with you and console you and be there for you. But seeing I don't have any friends or family, the only family I had was gone. Now I sit alone, wallowing in my sadness. But any time I think back to our last meeting, I still don't get what he meant by his last statement. Could it be that he knew about France? But I never posted, so how would he know? I went to work every day and came back, but I was so not in myself. I tried making friends in the office, but since it wasn't my thing, I found it hard to do, so I gave up. I was never happy. I missed the feeling of having someone care for me, look out for me, and make me feel loved and wanted. I suffered so much loss, both my stuff that was gone, and the man I loved, and there was no chance of me getting any of them back. Hell, I even lost hope for my stuff, but prayed that Damien will forgive me and let's get past this. On the other hand, Clara and I were not really on speaking terms after we came back. We went back to the way we were before France, not really saying anything to each other. But one day I was scrolling through my phone checking social media and stuff, so I came across Damien's page. That's when I noticed that we had a mutual friend online, so I checked and saw that it was Clara. Sincerely, I didn't know Clara and I were friends online, so I entered her page when it hit me. It all made sense. She posted videos of us clubbing, all the parties we went to, all the men I made out with. Everything was there. And of course, Damien saw everything. I kept scrolling and it only got worse. First was the video with the French guy, and then the rest followed. It was as if she intentionally posted a video of me each time we were out. I sat down that night thinking of different ways I could make it up to him, and in all the ways I thought of, he had to be willing to talk to me first, and he was not answering my calls, so I was at a roadblock, and there was no way forward for me and Damien. One day I was on my way home from work. I decided to walk home that day. And on my way back, I saw Damien entering the store with this girl. She should be around 10 or so, and there was so much resemblance between them. I immediately felt this anger boiling within me. I didn't want to believe that he had a child all this while and I didn't know, or he felt it was not necessary to mention it to me. So I decided to confront him. When I entered the store, he was standing by the candy aisle, raising the girl to reach the top shelf and get a candy. When I got to them, I just cleared my throat and their giggles died down. He stood looking at me, waiting for me to talk, so I just looked at the girl and back at him. He just shook his head, and when he was about to leave, the girl tapped his thigh and said, "Damien, I can wait for you at the front desk." Then I started thinking, why would his child call him by his name? It didn't make any sense. That's when I remembered that he once mentioned a younger sister, and that she could be the one. He gave me this look that said how irritated he was that I would think such of him. And he walked out without saying a word. I mean, he didn't have to. I got the message. I don't even know how I went from being the happiest woman in the world to this. You guys, I really need help. Please help. At least let me know why Damien is acting up like this. Please, I need advice, just any way to win Domain back, because at this point, I really don't know what to do. Update. So guys, this is my first and only update, so it's been 3 weeks since I last saw Damien. And you think I'm feeling better now 2 days back. I was called from this junkyard, and they said they saw a suitcase with my business card inside, so I've been able to get back a few of my things. And about the thing with Matt, I know I mentioned countless times I've tried to pretend it didn't matter, that it was just a stupid, meaningless mistake, but the truth is it changed everything. You guys are probably tired of me by now, but I'll tell you anyway. It's not like I have anything more to lose. It happened before France, before all the clubbing and partying and open relationship talk, and maybe that's the worst part, because I'd already done the damage before I ever asked Damien for permission to be with someone else. As mentioned earlier, Matt worked with Damien. Yeah, it wasn't some stranger. It wasn't a guy from a bar. It was his coworker. I don't know what came over me. I mean, Dave and I never fought, like we hardly did. Matt wasn't just Damien's coworker. He was a friend. He came around the house often. So that night, I don't know why, but he came over. Like there's no way he didn't know Domain had a night shift. But he came regardless, and I was really down, And he was just available, so yeah, that happened. But I swear it was just once, just that one night. But I felt really guilty after. And the only reason I didn't tell Damien was because I didn't want to hurt him. And it's the reason I asked for an open relationship for my trip in the first place. Or at least that's what I like to tell myself. Truth is, guys, I already mentioned this earlier, but I really just wanted to be a free bird in France. I mean, it was probably a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me. I needed to explore without constraint. But look where that got me. Anyway, about the thing with Matt, I told myself it wasn't serious, that it didn't even count. And when I brought up the open relationship idea before my trip, I told myself I was being honest and fair. But honestly, I think I was just trying to retroactively clean my conscience. Damien didn't know then. At least I didn't think he did. But when I got back, when he looked at me like I was a stranger, when my things were gone and he refused to even speak to me, and most especially when I saw Matt at the hospital and caught the way Damien looked at him, I knew it was officially over. But I still wonder how he found out. Maybe he figured it out. Maybe Clara, but God knows it was just between Matt and I. Or was it Matt? I don't know, and I'm not sure I'm ready to find out. But whoever or however, Damien knew. And I didn't have to say a word because my silence had already told the whole story. I lost the love of my life over something I told myself didn't matter. But it did. It mattered to him. And now I'm the one left picking up the pieces. So guys, yeah, that's it. The whole affair that I think may have cost me my relationship. Now, I bet Damien is living his life. I saw him one morning at a dinner with a girl. This time it was an older-looking girl. They were all clingy and stuff. But I had come to reason within myself. He said he didn't want anything to do with me, that we couldn't be anything more than we are, that's strangers, and that I should stay away. So I've been doing just that. Well, it was a long ride with you guys, and I am happy. No, that's a lie. I'm still sad, devastated, and alone. But I feel better than before. Thank you guys for the support. I know y'all are probably going to leave me some insults now that I've told you guys what actually happened with Matt, but that's why I saved it for last. Bye, guys.